guys want to know what it's like to not work in a workshop? It's the absolute worst. Doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be pleasing. To the next project of the day, I'm just whipping right through them. I hope you know what you're doing.
I do.
Was that a do or a don't? I'm Kristen, and this is Matt. We've spent the last 4 years sailing our $5,000 Craigslist boat to some of the most beautiful places in the Caribbean. From spearfishing in South Andros, Bahamas, staying in a treehouse and riding horses through the rainforest of the Dominican Republic, to even dodging hurricanes in Puerto Rico. We could have never imagined what this adventure would become. After gaining more sailing experience, we knew we had to make some serious upgrades to our boat if we wanted to keep this journey going. So we decided to go all in with our 40-year-old boat and get a new engine. We soon realized that we were in for more projects than we originally planned on. There's going to be some major changes coming up, so hit subscribe and join us for the journey. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Sailing GBU. Here we go, more projects, more fun. We are getting right into business today on a lot of odds and ends. We're gonna be all over the place, so you're gonna be able to see a lot of different projects going on.
Yeah, this is basically an average every day in the workload of, we tore the whole boat apart. For some reason, when I was looking at it in my mind's eye, I said, yeah, this will just go in and out. But then once we got into it, there's a different scope of work that I just really had not considered. I was gonna do a gangster boo-boo and just be in and out in a week, but Big Mama said, "No, dog, we gotta make it look a little better."
He was not going to do that. Don't blame this on me.
I'll spray paint the whole inside of this thing beige as it sits right now. Cushions and the whole nine. Beige. It'll make the cushions waterproof. That's what I would do, and I'd be gone. But we're gonna.
Everything's gonna work out in the end. Are we seeing eye to eye on these things? No, but let's just keep moving forward. It's gonna get done. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. So let's just get right into some work.
Alright, so since I showed a lot of love to my engine room and the main component of this whole refit was the fact that we were getting a new engine, I want to be able to access all the guts down there. I want to be able to get to the engine, get to the exhaust manifold, get to the prop seal, get to the steering quadrant, get to all that. I want to be able to access that relatively easily, or as easily as possible on a boat this size. And I'm going to do that by opening up my access panel. I'm going to cut like another 1.5 feet, 2 feet of the wall out so that I can have a bigger access panel, and I'm going to fortify it with some harder structures, some 2x4s, to make sure I don't get any sag or any flexing anywhere. Alright, so naturally once my engine is in and my fuel tank's going to be where I'm at, I won't be able to come in here and play with these things like I've been doing over the past couple weeks. So I moved that panel down a foot. It was to here. So when I had to come play with my steering, I had to like stick my head in there and then like full reach to mess with all these little bolts, and it was a nightmare. So now that I'll be able to come all the way to here, I'll be able to access my fuel tank a lot easier. This will be a lot easier. I think as for running electrical lines, this is going to be a nice area to mount to run those down to the panel. So I'm really happy about this. I think this is going to make my life a lot easier. Now that I have better access to it though, I'm sure nothing bad will ever happen. That's what I'm hoping for.
Alright guys, Matt gave me 2 mismatched gloves, but I guess this is what I'm going to use. I'm getting to work. I'm going to be working on the windows. There's little small holes and little fine details that Matt doesn't have the patience for. He's going to work on bigger projects, and I'm going to spend my time fixing and perfecting the little divots. So, wish me luck. to the next project of the day. I'm just whipping right through them. I'm going to be perfecting some inside issues here. I'm going to pretty much, we had to remove our windlass, so we filled that hole. I'm going to sand all of this inside to make sure it's smooth without any splinters. And then I'm going to fill in a few things, caulk a few cracks, and this thing's gonna be ready for paint in the inside.
When we're coming home, any place we wander to, any season we go through, I'll be fine as long as I'm with you. Heaven knows, running round the world with you. When you smile, I smile too. How I ever made it without you.
Now that I've sanded it, I've wiped it with acetone. It's about as good as I'm gonna spend time doing it. Doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be pleasing. Now I'm going to fill in the cracks that are big, and that should be good for that, and a little bit of caulking, and this is gonna be done and we can move on to the next project. So now I have a lot of, what is it called, irons in the oven? I don't know what it's called. So I'm going back to my windows. I think that the filler has dried. I went from Bondo, but that was too dry and crispy for these little teeny little spots. So I did a little bit of, what is it called, spackle, I think. And so now I'm gonna go in with a 1000 sandpaper, and I'm going to very lightly smooth out and perfect the windows, and whatever they are at this point, I'm done.
And just for the marine products aholics out there, I know they're gonna say spackling, blah. We're just simply filling in some pinholes. So structurally,
the very fine little outside.
Literally pinholes. So
probably not even a good idea to do it. We'll probably fall into the wall one day like this, and the whole thing will crack off.
We're not filling any voids with spackle. Alright, so while Kristen was working, thank God I got a good woman to come down and help alleviate the stress on me. While she was doing some of those little things, gave me time to go into my engine room and measure for a new gas tank. I want to get a new fuel tank. I want to increase my tankage by 10 gallons so that way I don't have to rely on like having the jerry cans. Right now I only have a 14-gallon tank. I'd really like to bump that up to a 25-gallon tank. But I would settle for 20. We're still sailors after all. But while I was in there, I bumped the old fuel line. It's a 2-inch line, so I had a lot of diesel fuel in there, and it dumped diesel fuel all over my shirt. And I didn't want to run back to the house to change, so I've just been breathing in diesel fuel fumes.
Hopefully you're not getting rashes.
I don't worry about the rashes. I'm worried about being like Elton John.
What's that mean?
Being high, high, high as a kite by then.
I think you should be more worried about the rashes.
Okay, I'm worried about the rashes. But either way, that's what I was doing while she was helping me. But let's get on to the next project. Enough nonsense. So we're finishing in this cabinet in here. It's a little wonky, and we're going to hustle through this. We're covering up the washing machine for 2 reasons. One, so that it's covered when we live here. And the second reason, so that you don't have to hear about the washing machine anymore, because I'm sure you're sick and tired of it at this point. But we're going to face this out, get our measurements, go get our wood, and start knocking this project out.
And look, there's like a weird crack. Show them the crack of the That's not straight.
This?
Yeah, so we're gonna fill that in too. The whole thing was weird.
I'm getting rid of that because that could be like a roach highway or something, you know. We got to get rid of all those. Alright, so obviously what you can see with me putting it in and out is I like to put the whole piece in there and then slowly shave it down. That way I get the most perfect piece I can, because taking it off there is a lot easier than putting it back on there. Alright, so after much deliberation, we decided that we can go with the fully removable panel, just like we did in the V-berth. Pardon me, I have sawdust in my eye. Pardon me. We have a nice shaped door here, and we're just going to make it where I can veneer the whole thing, and if I have to get to the washer, big problems are happening in there, I can just zoop, 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 zoop at the top, zoop, zoop, zoop at the bottom, and pop the whole thing out. No problem, no worse for the wear. So this should be much easier than the V-berth, and it shouldn't take 2 weeks.
Alright guys, it's the next day. As you saw before, we got that faceplate set up over our washing machine. And now we're going into the kitchen. We're going to keep this train rolling. We're going to do the faceplate and 4 drawers situation. We haven't done drawers yet, so we're getting started with something new. I hope you know what you're doing.
I do.
Was that a do or a don't?
I do.
Alright, let's see what we're getting into today.
Okay, so for this area, this is basically where all of our storage is in the kitchen for our utensils and such. And before it was 3 little stanky drawers that always fell out, never worked, and the bottoms would fall out. You know, it was just what wasn't ideal. So what I'm going to do is 3 bigger drawers and then 1 big drawer at the bottom for like some pots and pans and stuff. But the good thing about these is the drawers can snap off and come all the way out. Not snap off, but they have a release clip that you can take them out. So that I'm going to put my starter battery back there for the new engine, and I'll be able to access that should I ever need to replace it. I'll be able to take this big bottom drawer out, get in there, play with some things, and I think it's going to be a nice access, and I'm using up space for the battery that's out of the way.
Sounds like a plan, Stan.
Let's do it.
guys want to know what it's like to not work in a workshop? It's the absolute worst. Are you okay?
I was cleaning it every damn day, but then I was just spending days upon days cleaning because you make one cut, the sawdust is there. So I said, you know what? I'm just ripping through all of it, and the mess motivates me to get more work done.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because if I come down here and it's all clean and ready to go, I just lay there and play on my phone for an hour.
I feel like more injuries will happen.
Injuries. Okay, so I'm at 17 cents. Measure twice, cut once.
Dang, Matt, you're getting good at your measurements. What are you? A little practice gets you going. That's a perfect fit.
I don't know if it's perfect. Alright, so I know we talked about samples in a prior video. Might have been this video, I don't even remember. It's all one long video for me at this point. But my dog, Jose Luis, brought these samples, and whether or not we use these, I want to send a sincere thank you to Big Homie for bringing me these, because whenever Kristen sees a questionable cut or a little gap or a little seam, she says, well, what about that crease right now? And I'm like, oh, good Lord. So I throw, we call these peanut butter pies, by the way. I throw a couple peanut butter pies on there, and she goes, oh, okay, I'll never see that. And I'll give you an example of that now. All right, so as we see with this gap right here, I wasn't too much of a surgeon when I was doing the demo, but Kristen says, what's up with that gap? And I say, girl, don't worry about that. Get a couple of slices of peanut butter pie on there, and look, you ain't never even gonna see that. That's gone forever now. So for marital bliss and conflict resolution, those samples have come out beyond words. I can't say how thankful I am for those. So get some samples, get
They
some
make
finish.
you feel better, because when you can't trust the process, you go, okay.
When you can't trust the process and you got some
I
goofy,
just can't trust the process.
you
I
got
just
some
can't
goofy
find
looking
it
dude
in me.
like me just ripping a saw and swinging a hammer every day, you go, ooh, ooh. But the peanut butter pie, smear it on there, it's gonna look nice.
I can't seem to lift my head straight. Just laying in the shades with you. Win or lose, we take it easy. Day by day, oh, that's what we do.
Alright, so once we put the plate in here, and this is kind of why we like doing it this way, because we can figure out together what we like.
Since we both use the cabinets.
Since we both use the cabinets, we're both in the kitchen. I know a lot of you old-fashioned boys, you know, had a lot to say with the washer and say, well, she gonna do the washing every day, so put it where she wants it. That may or may not exactly be the case. Kristen's a very modern woman, and she will not hesitate to put me in the kitchen. But anyway, enough of that. We realize we have space for 4. I'd rather have 4 5-inch deep drawers than 3 6 2/3 inch drawers. That's a little bit too deep of a drawer. So we tightened it up here, and 2 of these may end up being spice racks. We don't have that much silverware, but even at that, it'll be
We have some utensils though, spatulas, tongs, grilling
spatulas, tongs,
stuff,
the mashed potato meddler.
pot handles.
You
Now
know,
that I'm
pot
getting
handles.
a new oven!
Ooh, new oven. We're gonna need the pot handle. So we're gonna go with 4. It's only $20 more for the sliders. So you know,
Which is a lot for sliders, but you know what? They're the good kind. We're
Yeah.
getting the good kind.
we're getting the good stainless steel hitters. So it's gonna be a nice upgrade for us, and I think 4 drawers is gonna be nice.
Alright guys, sorry it's a little dark in here. There's like a storm coming and the day's getting late, but we did it. We got those set up. We still are going to have to build the drawer, get the sliders set up, have it all lined up. But we're coming along on these projects. We are figuring out how we're going to do our countertop. We're ordering stuff, so that's exciting. And things are just going right along. And if you want to see ahead of time of what we have our projects, make sure you guys check out and sign up on our Patreon if you're curious. And we just do little updates of our projects in real time.
Yeah, we definitely interact more on there, showing every day what the heck's going on this crazy boat, because obviously week to week, a little bit of time gets lost there. But I had fun this week. I think the different work pattern we did with you coming down and helping me, being in the trenches with your boy on the sand a little bit, leaving it dirty, dusty, you know, I was busting my hump clean, and every time you came down, you were like, man, this boat's looking good. You didn't do any work. Now you're like, dang, obviously a lot of work's getting done in here.
I'm never saying
I made a
you
big
do
mess.
any work. You obviously are doing a ton of things.
But it was fun to have you down and do this, do some sanding, get your hands dirty, and obviously, and honestly, it helped me a lot too, because you got some pretty good ideas when it comes to aesthetic, and you pushed me, you ringed me out. You know,
you'll start slipping off the ledge on quality, I have to say,
I will.
Now, boy, I know you're capable.
I just, because when I'm down here alone, I got my music on, and I'm thinking about, bring me 2 pina coladas, and I'm just thinking about St. Thomas and all the beautiful beyonds, and I'm like, man, I could just duct tape this thing together and be up out of here, especially now that my engine's delivered. So it's one of those things that I think we should just put the engine in and leave the drawers unfinished and finish them in Martinique. No. Finish them in the BVIs.
Where are we going to put all of our stuff? On the floor?
Good point.
Anyways, guys, if you haven't checked out our Teespring, check out our shirts. I have a cool shirt, Salty or Not. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's pretty cool, I think. And what else? Do you have anything else to say?
I think it's pretty cool too. I agree. It's a great tee.
All right, guys, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.